I lost a couple of people. Let's see.
It says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube. So we
Right.
shall see. All right. It says 6 people waiting, upcoming, notification on, start time, add to queue. Okay. It looks like, oh, I see us now on YouTube. We are on YouTube now. And there is a delay. So
Oh, all
it
right.
says that we are live, and it has me looking around. It has me talking. So you know what? I think we were live before.
Oh, excellent. Well,
I don't know.
okay.
Well,
I don't.
we shall cut that out. So let's see if other people can see us. Hey Vaughn, can you go on to my main YouTube page and see if you can see me? I'm on the page that you linked. No, on my main page.
So is that where the chat's gonna be somewhere different?
Yeah, it just didn't work. So
We need to tell these folks where to go.
it doesn't have any video going on. It doesn't? Okay. How do I see it then? I'm seeing on a page called Watch. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in the chat. Go here. Okay. All right. So hopefully people will be able to go to the right link and
there
see.
we are. There we are.
Yeah. All right. Well, technology. We're talking about Google today, and we are trying to figure out what the heck Google is doing because Google owns YouTube. And this is the first time I've tried to go live through YouTube. And this is Heather Zeitzwolfe with my new show, Savvy Frugal Vegan. And I'm here with my very great friend and fellow vegan, Bobby Deetz. Hi, Bobby.
Hi, Heather. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and I appreciate you helping me through this. I figured if anybody will help me with my first live, it will be the person who is a Google person. But you know, there's a lot of aspects to Google. It sounds like you haven't really dived into the whole YouTube aspect of it. So we're not going to talk about YouTube, and hopefully, well, I'm going to find a YouTube expert to help me out with the situation. But you know so much about Google, and Google has Gmail, they have Chrome, they've got, you know, you can have plugins. There's Google My Business. I don't think we're going to go into that. There's Google work. What is the thing with the work thing and like
Google Workspace?
Google Workspace. There's like so Google everything. Okay.
Yes.
And I went to visit my friend in Florida, and she has one of these little devices where you can talk into it, kind of like a Siri type thing. And her little kid was like, "Hey, Google," and asking questions and playing music. So I didn't even know that was a thing. So Google is part of our all the, what do we call it? I'm so perplexed by this technology. I can't speak words. It's part of our nomenclature now, right? Google.
It's definitely in our ecosystem.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna get ready for the top 10. Okay, Vaughn is telling me, my husband's telling me that he can't see it, but up. Oh, are you following the right link? Did you go to the right link? You have to follow the link right there.
Okay, the one you sent out doesn't work then.
Okay, the link. No, the new link. You have to look at the new link. Yep. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we got that figured out. All right. Let's go into the top 10 list that we have for Google. And I closed everything, so I don't have my list in front of me now. So I got to get that back. And hopefully that's not going to screw up what we got going on. It's funny. It says I got a notification saying that we had gone live. So who knows what is going on with you, Google. All right. We are going to, and in the chat, you can start posting your questions about Google, but we're going to address a lot of different things here today. And of course, we ate into our time. So hopefully Bobby will stick around for a little bit. But let's first go into some of the things about Gmail, because a lot of us use Gmail. And I think people with Samsung phones probably default to Gmail, is my understanding. And but all of us have like Google accounts these days. And then we get a Gmail account. Tell us, you know, what, let's start off. What is some things that we need to know about Gmail?
Yeah, for sure. Would you like me to go ahead and jump in and share my screen?
Well, you know what, Bobby, we should
Or just,
actually introduce you. I didn't
yeah.
even do a
Oh,
proper introduction. So I just assumed everybody knows you, Bobby Deetz, the wonderful Bobby Deetz of Digital Deetz, and you are a tech coach that knows all about Macs, and Google is part of your kind of your specialty, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I help solopreneurs and creatives and small business owners to sort of use their technology more effectively and efficiently so that the tech challenges can kind of get out of the way and they can focus on their mission.
Yes, I love that. And you're very patient with people, and you need that when someone is helping you with technology. You know, so for some of us, it comes very easy. For others, it's like, what is going on? It's just completely foreign. And then is it a double click? Is it a click? Is it a this? You know, is it in a corner? Is it an X, or what's going on? So we forget, like, we just know this stuff inherently after a while. But for people that are new to it, it can be overwhelming, especially when you have several Google accounts like I do. And then I'm like, where the heck am I? All right. So let's start with Gmail.
All right.
So what do we need to know about Gmail?
Okay. And I just want to give a shout out. I see my friend Kelly's in the.
Oh, awesome. So Kelly found us. Okay, good.
Good.
All right.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen then as we're walking through this. And I am right now showing a free personal Gmail account, which is also a demo account. So this isn't a real, business account for me or anything. And then I also may get into the Google Workspace for Business Gmail account. The two are very similar. There's I would say that, the majority of the features are available both on the free and the business, but of course there are some very significant differences as well.
Yes, and just to kind of back up, so some people they can just start a Gmail account and they just have like their name and then at gmail.com. And then there's people like me who have business accounts where it has my my URL is in the .com name. So you can have either one, and then it can be kind of complicated. Okay, so
Exactly.
just want to put that out there.
Right. Great. Well, okay. So we've got 10 tips. I've got way more than 10 tips, but I have highlighted a few things, just little things that you may or may not know about. Because as you were saying, one thing about technology is it doesn't invite you to necessarily know what you don't know. So you don't even know the question to ask. And most of us can just, get by. We use our technologies as needed on a daily basis. But unless we're like total nerds like us, we may not dig in to learn those little tips and tricks until we see somebody else do it or somebody else shows us. That's how I learn often is I'm sitting with a client and they're doing something and I'm like, wait, I didn't know you could do it that way. And then I just add it to my own knowledge base. So
Well, and do you keep a database of some of this stuff? How do you, or do you just keep it in your brain?
Yeah, well, brain also, but technology changes so often that even creating a help doc, there could be a brand new update tomorrow and then it's outdated. So
yeah, just like I was trying to figure out where some certain things were in Zoom before we started, and they keep moving things around.
right.
All right. Okay, so let's get into this.
Yes. So
and please, everybody in the chat, put in your questions that you have.
Yes, throw questions in there. We can handle it. All right. So one thing I wanted to show was the snooze feature. Snoozed feature. Right. So if you don't see a snoozed on the left sidebar there, it may be hiding under your more section there. But snooze, let's talk about how to snooze and why you would snooze. So I'm not an inbox zero kind of person. I don't strive to have my inbox be completely empty all the time, but I would like this number here to be much smaller than this, generally speaking. Like I want my inbox to be those hot things that I need to deal with today or this week and nothing more. And I like to keep things up at the top that I'm working on right now. So I may take this, this Tom's guide. I may want to read about, well, maybe not this one, but I may want to read about this email later. I don't want it staring me in the face right now. I'm going to hover over it. And when you hover, there's so many things that happen with Gmail and Google Apps in general when you hover that you have to kind of slow down to see. So I'm going to hover here. And when I do that, I come over here to the snooze button. And I'm going to be able to say, you know what? Just take this email away. I don't want to see it right now. Let's have it come back tomorrow morning. It's a Sunday. Maybe I have time to read newsletters then. I'm going to just click on that. It disappears from my inbox. So I feel a little calmer. I don't have to see so much email because I'm just seeing the ones that I need to deal with. Now, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., that email is going to come back into my inbox as if it's brand new. So this is extremely helpful for those that use their inbox as their to-do list. Just snooze it, have it come back later. And if you're like, wait a minute, I snoozed something, but now I want to look at it earlier, you can just always go over to the sidebar under snoozed and you can find that email there. So that is my tip number 1, snoozing your email for later. All right. Okay. I will move on to, how about schedule send? Now, I know a lot of people know about this, but if you've missed it, I want to show you how this works. So let's say I'm composing a message. I'm going to send this to Heather. Heather has so many email addresses. And we are going to test the schedule send, right? And, you know, I could just send it like I normally would, and she's going to get it right now. But if you're like me, sometimes you're up at 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m., still working. And that's a little embarrassing to be sending email at that time. So I like to pretend, no, I don't do work at 11:30 p.m. I'm going to schedule this send for tomorrow morning at 8. Then I look like an early riser. You know, I just get up at 8 and I start sending my email. So I'm going to click on tomorrow at 8. And of course, I can pick another time. I could even send this in a couple weeks at a particular time. But I'm going to go ahead and schedule this for tomorrow. And now, actually, I ended up scheduling it for an hour from now. And I can, of course, come over to my left sidebar, just like the snoozed emails, if I need to see what do I have scheduled to send later today or tomorrow, whenever I chose to send it. So
and this is, and you have to do this actually in Chrome, in your Gmail account. Well, maybe you don't have to actually be in Chrome, but you have to be in a browser in Gmail. You can't be downloading your mail into some other kind of app. Like I use Apple Mail. Like I can't do this in Apple Mail, right?
I actually am not sure.
Okay.
There may be client applications, so applications where you check your mail on your computer, where you can certainly schedule email for later. Of course, I'm a big advocate for using Gmail in the browser where it's kind of meant to be. You know, then you're just talking directly to the Google server. If you're in Chrome, that's a Google product. So you're kind of all in the Google ecosystem at the same time. So here's the big send, schedule send right here in the browser. Yeah.
Oh, it's so easy. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So what are you saying about me sending you emails at 1 a.m.? Okay. I'm just kidding. Okay. That's a great tip. Okay. What else you got for Gmail?
All right, so this is getting a little deep, but I thought it was important to talk about where our email is sitting. If you are using Gmail in the browser, which is what I recommend, not everyone knows or understands really where the inbox is and what the archive means. So I kind of wanted to talk about this. This is an extremely important concept to understand as you're getting more robust with managing your email, especially in your inbox, especially if you're going towards that goal I said of keeping your email down to kind of a smaller number in your inbox. A lot of people just leave everything in their inbox. And so this may look like a horrifying number of 5,000 or something like that. And remember, this is only your unread right here. I'm just looking at my unread messages. If I look over here, I'm going to see that I have 389 messages in my inbox. And some people, it's pretty common for my clients to have 50, 70,000 emails in their inbox because they've never really deleted or archived that email. So I kind of want to talk about that. If you click this more on the side here, you're going to see a label called all mail. And if I go to all mail, I'm now seeing all my email. That's the true count of how much email you have is 5,951 in my case here in my demo account, right? So I wanted to talk about the concept of email is basically in 5 places. Now, I'm not going to talk about spam or sent or trash. Okay, so let's just talk about the 2 really important places that your email is physically sitting. So think of it as if I had an email printed out on a piece of paper and I filed it in one of two places. It's either going to be in my inbox or it's going to be archived. Okay, so one of those two places. Inbox is just a label. It's literally just a little tag that has been attached to an email called inbox. And as soon as I remove that tag by archiving that email, it's now down in the archive. Now, there's no way to see just your archive, which I always find really interesting. There's only a way to see all your email, which is a combination of what's in your inbox and what's in your archive. Now, people get afraid of archiving things, partly because they think it's going to be lost, they're not going to be able to find it, or because the word archive is a little bit of a misnomer. I think of archive as like, I'm kind of done with it for now. I'm going to put it in a box and put it in my basement. And, maybe someday I'll dig around in it. But really what archive means here is it's just not in my inbox, right? So when you have an email here, and let's say I open this nice email from you and I archive it. So I'm going to click this button to archive it. It's not gone. In fact, I can just go to all mail here and I'm going to see this email from you sitting right here. If I was in my inbox up here and I searched for emails from Heather, it's going to pop up right there too. So when I do a search, it's going to search both the inbox and the archive. And I think that's a really important concept to start thinking about when you're working with Gmail in the browser. It's very different than working with a client-based application where you have email in your inbox and then you have local folders and you file emails into folders, and then that's where they are locally. This is more like they can be labeled with way more labels than just one. And we're going to maybe talk about labels if you give me the time.
Can I ask a quick question about that?
Sure.
So
yeah,
I have, when I first started, I had some local folders that were like on my hard drive.
Yeah.
But now I just have, they're all in the cloud. So I have like each one of my Gmail accounts, because I bring it into Apple Mail. I see divided each one, but I have like one main one where all of like, if I have certain categories, like my expenses for a certain year, like they all go into that one thing and I can see it no matter which email address it came from. And when I go into my Google account, I can still see those folders. So I feel good about that, at least. But what happens if you close one of those Gmail accounts? Like if I'm paying for one and maybe it expires and I don't use it, will my mail disappear? Or if I've archived it, will it stay there?
If you say more what you mean about closing your account.
Okay, so I have a bunch of different Gmail accounts.
Right.
And I pay like a monthly fee to have a special kind of Gmail account. Well, if there's one that I'm getting rid of, I'm not going to pay anymore. Will those emails still exist, or
Gotcha.
will I have to keep paying Gmail to have access to them?
Got you. Yeah, great question. So if you're using a client-based application like MacMail or Thunderbird or Outlook or something like that, and you have put your email into a local folder, you could cut off that service and you would have a local archive of that email, no longer functioning, of course. If you're just using it in the browser and you get rid of your account, you're not going to have access anymore. I still would strongly recommend that you use Gmail in the browser. And actually, I see more and more clients have trouble with their Mac Mail checking all these Google accounts when the numbers get really high. You get into 70,000, 100,000 emails, you'll start to have issues. Now, if someone was telling me, hey, I'm going to be shutting down my business and I want to archive my email, I'd say, great, let's get Thunderbird for you. We're going to locally download all your email, back it up before you shut that service off, just to keep it as an actual archive, right?
And okay, so I've got a question about this. So when you do have multiple accounts, I have them all feeding into one. So I actually see all of my email into one account. Do you feel like that's a good thing, or is that do you have strong feelings about that?
I do have strong feelings about that. I have subjective feelings about this. So yes, what you're talking about is using Mac Mail and you're looking in the all inboxes, right? So you've got several accounts and the email.
Well, what I've done is gone into Gmail and said that I want like all my email like to address to like be forwarded to this one Gmail
Oh,
address.
got
So it
you.
all
You're
goes into one
forwarding
Gmail
your
address.
email.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that is one way to manage it. I'm guessing and assuming that you have several signatures then, and every time you go to email something, respond to somebody, you choose the appropriate signature.
Yep.
That's one way to manage it. And if I was working with you and figuring out your working style and what, how you want to work, maybe that works best for you. I'm a strong advocate for using different Chrome profiles, which is something we might get into, for each of your sort of online personalities, because you can have separate bookmarks, you can have separate extensions, you can have a different, theme, color, you've got different labels. Maybe in your case, Heather, you've got kind of so many accounts that do similar things. Your situation might make more sense. I'm really into saying, hey, if this is a personal account, let's have a different Chrome profile for you with different bookmarks, different extensions, different email, separate from your work-related profile. It kind of depends on your need.
Okay. I don't mean to keep stopping you. Okay, let's keep going. So what else you got for Gmail before we move on to Chrome?
Okay. And you're watching the chat questions, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
we have a question, but it's about Google Drive. So we're going to get to that one.
Okay, great. Well, I have two other little things. I do want to mention labels. I just want to be sure everybody knows the power of labels and the power of filters. And of course, we could do a deep dive. We could do hours on this. I'm just going to do a quickie here. I'm going to have a label called Heather. And I'm going to create that. That's going to be you. And I'm going to make it good color for you. Let's see, maybe this one. Looking at your branding. Okay, so we're going to do a label here. Now, I can take this email and I can drag it into this label, or I could open it up and I could label it Heather, doing that. And that way, when I come down here, I quickly see all the email from you, right, Heather, when you're emailing me. This email could still be in the inbox, certainly, but it's going to have that label on it. But the magic, the part people maybe don't take the extra mile to get to, is how can I automatically label all the emails from you? And I'm going to just show you quickly how to do that. My favorite way is to open an email, something you get regularly, like emails from Heather. And I go to filter messages like these. And I could just search. This is a great way to search, by the way. There's a whole lot of advanced things I can do. But in this case, I'm going to create a filter. And look at all these options. A filter is something that happens automatically. My business email has labels on almost every single email that comes in. Colorful labels. That's a good indicator for me because I'm visual. This is a great way to organize your email. So, of course, I don't want to skip the inbox in this case because I don't want to miss a single email from Heather. But there might be some subscriptions to things that are important to me, and I want to visit them again on Sundays, but I don't want to see them every day in my inbox. So I might click that. But in this case, I'm going to apply the label Heather that I just created. I'm going to click never send it to spam, which also helps your reputation, right? Because I'm telling Google, hey, never send this email from Heather to spam. I'm going to mark it as important. And we're not going to get into importance markers, but that's another way to organize your email in Google. And I'm going to say, hey, go back in history, find all the emails from Heather at savvyfrugalvegan.com and apply the label for me. So I don't even have to do it. I'm going to create that filter. And when you do that, sometimes it sits here and looks like nothing's happening. I just click back to the inbox and then it tells me my filter was created. And I can go to Heather now and I see all the emails from you. And when I'm in my inbox, I get to see that nice label, colorful label showing up on all the emails from Heather. And now if you were to email me again, it would automatically label it. Something I love.
That's very cool. Okay, so you're giving us some super tips. But to remember all of these things, where you click and do all this stuff, I know that you gave me a handout. So this is stuff that you help people with. So if someone wanted to schedule time with you and they're like, whoa, okay, these are really cool things Bobby's showing me, but I can't remember all this. And what am I supposed to do? Watch this video like 500 times. They can hire you to help them with this type of stuff. So what are some of the ways that you offer to help people? Is it like by the hour? Do you have group programs? Like talk to me, Bobby. What are your services?
Great, thank you. Yes. So I work one-on-one with folks as well as through programs. So I have a little starter package. If you're not quite sure, you just sign up for 3 hours with me. We set a goal, usually just for one tool in that case, and we tackle it together. A lot of my clients do a VIP package, which is we really work together for about 3 months. And it's a little bit like therapy. It's like tech therapy. We meet every week or every other week, and we set a curriculum. We set goals. What do you want to tackle either in your business or around your creative projects? And then we just have a plan each week, and you actually have homework that you get to do to not only practice the new skills, but in a lot of cases is organizing, cleaning out your files, your digital assets, your photos, your email, whatever it might be. And we can check in as things go so that we are able to actually reach your goals in the end. And of course, I do a lot of classes, and we have like Gmail All-Stars. That's probably one of my most favorites. And we have like Messy Mac Makeover, where we just dive into the Mac computer and organize your digital assets and do like delete retreats and stuff. So yeah, a lot of different ways. Thank you.
Yeah. And Bobby is I mentioned before, very patient and no judgment. So if you are a hot mess when it comes to your technology, don't worry, Bobby's seen it all. So hire Bobby to help you. And Bobby sometimes has free workshops too. So I'll put in the show notes, if you got anything coming up. All right. So should we keep going with Gmail? Or should we move to Chrome?
Well, we should move on, but
okay, maybe we'll circle back.
You did ask for templates, so I made
templates. Okay, yes, okay.
I know you wanted to see that. So we often, especially if we have a business, we often type the same content over and over when we're sending an email. Well, there's a quick way to have templates in your Gmail so you don't have to do that. Saves lots of time, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The first step, though, is to enable this, because this is not enabled in your account by default. So we're going to go to settings. We're going to go to see all settings. And then you're going to be in this very overwhelming space, which, by the way, I always like to say, if you just spend 20 minutes literally reading through all the settings, you will not only learn what Gmail can do, but you will learn what you have control over. So I love to say that. It's just take 20 minutes and read through the settings and you've got it. You don't even need me. All right, so we're going to go to advanced. Okay, these are little tabs. It's not obvious, but we're going to go to advanced right here, and we're going to say, let's enable the templates. Okay, so we have to enable this feature before we can use it, and we're going to do save changes. Now, to create a template, super easy. You actually just create the email that you want to be sending over and over again. And I already came up with some content here, so I'm just going to paste it in. All right, and I'm going to call this free strategy session invitation. You have to title it by putting the title in the subject. Okay, and you can see where I've left little spots for myself to, add the person's name, add, like, if they've said I need help with my Gmail, so I can say I can help you with your Gmail, so I'm repeating some of that back, and I've got a link to my appointment calendar because I don't want to go find all this every single time. Now, really important tip if you're using this, I have this really nice signature showing here, right? It will be included in my template. So what's kind of funny, this is a little funky thing, is that because I have this signature automatically, if I include it in my template, it's going to be duplicated when I use the template. So I actually have to delete my signature, okay, before I save my template. Now, the way I save the template is I go down and I find these 3 little dots down here, and I go templates, which is now available because I turned it on. and I'm going to say save draft. This is a very weird interface. You can see how I'm coming over here and I'm saying save template. And of course, I already put a subject in there. So that's my title. Okay. And I'm just going to delete this email so I can start fresh. So here I'm starting fresh. I'm going to, either respond to somebody or start a whole new email. And I want to let them know that they can, get a free strategy session with me. I'm going to come down again to the 3 dots and I'm going to go to templates and I'm going to insert that template I just created, and boom, I'm ready to go with my email and I don't have to retype that. So there you go, Heather. I know you
love
to
that.
do that one.
I love that. Yeah, I keep all of my stuff in a Google Doc and then I copy and paste it, but that's, less of a step. Okay, so we do have a question about Gmail, and it's from Vaughn. Is there a way to organize labels into folders? This would be in case more than a manageable number of labels are made.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't call them folders just because I like to use the language labels here because it really does distinguish the difference between labels and folders that you would have on a client email. But say I wanted to, let's just do this. Let's do, okay, sorry. Let me start a new label. I'm going to start a new label and I'm going to call this networking. Okay. And I'm going to nest this label. That's the language that Google uses. So I'm going to nest it under Digital Deetz. And I'm going to say create. And when I do that, it works a little bit like a folder system, Vaughn. So you can open or collapse that to give yourself more real estate here on the left.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
Okay, let's move on to Chrome.
Okay, Chrome. All right. Great.
And Chrome is a browser, in case people don't know. So you've got Explorer, Firefox, Safari, and then we got Chrome, which is owned by Google. And so I find a lot of programs work best in Chrome, but some programs I cannot get to work in Chrome and I have to use like Safari. So it's always good to have an extra, some kind of other browser available to you, because sometimes things don't work or you swear you're like, I'm putting it in right and it's not working. So yes.
Yes, agreed. Great. Okay, so we are in the Chrome browser, as Heather said, and I'm just going to show you a couple of quick little tips that I find I use throughout the day. One is let's say I've got these 2 tabs open right now, this blank space here where I don't have any tabs at all. If I double click, this is my favorite. What it does is it fills the screen without going into full screen mode. So I don't know about you, but full screen mode, which is if we went like this, okay, now I've lost my dock, right? That's at the bottom, and I've lost my menu at the top. It just kind of, I don't like it that much. So I'm going to bring it back down. But what I love is the double click. And in fact, I can resize this window however I want it. Say this is how I want it when I'm on a Zoom call, because I'm multitasking. I've got the people on the right and I've got the screen on the left where I'm taking notes. So this is my kind of standard, but now I want to fill the screen without going into full screen mode is just a double click in this empty space and it will toggle back and forth from where I keep it. So that is a tip I love. I use it all day long.
And Bobby, before we went on this call, maybe we were live somewhere, I don't know, but I discovered a new secret that you told me about muting your tab.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about that. That is amazing. I had no idea about this.
Oh, sure. So when you've got a tab up here, which, might be relevant for YouTube, for example, or like if you go to a news channel like CNN or something and a random video is playing and it's really loud and you don't know why, you can right click on a tab and you can mute the site. When you mute a site, you're not going to hear anything and you're not going to get pop-up notifications for that site. Now, you do have to remember to unmute it, okay, if you need to get it back. But it will show, well, it's not showing on this one. If you do it on YouTube, you'll see that it does a little like circle with a line through it for the audio there.
And another thing that you taught me, I don't know if it's on your list or not, is you can generate a QR code right up in Chrome. Can you show how to do that?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. Let's see.
It's a really cool QR code that's got a little dinosaur. I think it's a T-Rex in the middle. And
All
you
right.
just go into the
Looking for something. I'm looking for something good here. Why do I
okay.
always just go completely blank? All right, here we go. Portland hikes. Let's see.
Yeah, you go there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually they have changed this.
Yeah,
Hold
they moved it slightly, right?
Hold on, they moved it.
Yeah. I think if
Um,
you go by the star, isn't it over there by the star? Or
it
the
was by the star, but that's just bookmarking.
oh,
Oh, yeah. Let's see,
they
let's
did move it,
see.
didn't they?
Yes.
Those
All
googly
right, hold on.
Googles. Okay,
Somebody
well we
know, is anybody in the chat helping?
uh okay, so let's move on
Save
to
and
something
share.
else.
Save and share. Save and
Oh,
share. Okay.
oh, save and
So
share. Oh,
go up
where
to
did
your
you find it? They moved it? Okay, where did they move
like
it to?
it's like a comedy show. Oh, now I've raised my hand.
Okay.
You go
Uh
up
oh, okay,
if
where?
you go up to the upper right of your
Uh-huh.
browser and you find the three dots,
Okay.
and then you come down to save and share. You
Hmm.
can, by the way, you can also send the link to your other devices. So say you're on the go, I need this hike on my phone. I can send it to my other device, but I can create a QR code right
There
there.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so they moved it. So,
All right.
whenever you think you figured things out, they're going to move it.
They're
So
gonna
it's
move it totally.
so don't
I
be
think
afraid of exploring. Okay.
right, exactly. Okay, I am going to show you something else about tabs, but my other little, thank you for that one, by the way, Heather. It's a good one. Another little teeny tip that's super helpful throughout the day is when I'm working with folks, I see a lot of this. I need to go to my other windows, so I'm going to go here, and I've got I got to get there's another window on an and then I'm here and I got this other window, and they're just all day like moving windows around like this, right? So I want to show you a keyboard shortcut. Now, I'm not a big keyboard shortcut user. There's just something about my brain. It doesn't work. I don't know, it's my dyslexia or whatever. I don't know if you can put my hand down. I'm like, how do I put my hand down? I keep waving with my hands. But here's a quick shortcut for you. If you hold down Command, this is on a Mac, okay? I think it's Alt on a PC. If you hold down Command and hit the little tilde mark or the tilde or the little back tick, I don't really know what these keyboard keys are called. You will be able to flip back and forth between your Chrome profile windows, okay? So generally speaking, instead of like moving all your windows around, teach yourself how to just flip back and forth between your different Chrome windows using that shortcut. Super, super helpful. All right. What do we think about that? That's a good one, right?
It
All
is
right.
a good one, but I'm just still trying to figure out what a tilde is.
Oh, it's underneath your sorry, it's underneath your escape key. It's the back tick, and then it has the little squirrely.
Oh, the squiggly thing. Okay, yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
what it is.
Okay.
Maybe someone could put in the chat what that's actually called. All right. Let's see. Okay, what did I have next here? Oh, yes, I do want to talk about this whole issue of having more than one Google account, okay? Because almost all of us that use Google at all have more than one Google account. And Heather has like what, 14?
I think 5 maybe, yeah, something like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
All right. So I have quite a few. So if you come up here to your Chrome profile, the top picture here, okay? Let me get back in my email here. So if I come up to the top picture, it could be a picture of you, it could be an initial that matches your name, or maybe a logo if you're using your business account, okay? But this top one, you see how there's two here? This one up here is your Chrome profile. Okay, so that controls things like your preferences, your passwords if you're saving them in the browser, which is a whole other conversation, your extensions, your bookmarks, your theme, all of that is controlled by your Chrome profile. And I do advocate for having a Chrome profile per account that you toggle to, so that I'm going down here and I'm saying, okay, now I want to work in this account. And so I'm opening that window using this top picture here, okay? And so I'm going to flip back to my other one. Of course, if I've got them both open, I can use the new shortcut I just showed you, but I'm toggling using this. This bottom one here has to do with which Google account you're in and you're using, okay? When you're in Gmail or you're in Docs or you're in your Drive, okay? And if these two are matching, then you know you've got one profile working with one Google account. For the most part, that's how I recommend using your Chrome browser and working with your Google accounts. There are some use cases where you might sign into more than one here, but I'm going to advocate for thinking this through. So if we go to my demo account here, you can see that I am also logged into that same other account. And so this is really common. People do this. Okay, and so now I've got my one demo account here, and I've got another account here, and I've got both my emails open. And you may find that this is extremely convenient for you, right? Because now I only have one window, and I can check both of my email accounts. The downside is that this is my Chrome profile. So these bookmarks are associated with that account. If I'm in this account now checking my email, these bookmarks are not related. So if I bookmark something here and then I go to the other Chrome profile, it's going to get all mixed up. The other thing that happens is, this has probably happened to everybody. Somebody shares a Google Doc with you, and they said, I shared it with you, and you try to open it. I try to open it from this account, and it says request access. Well, that doesn't make sense because they just shared it with me. Why do I have to request access? That's because Google has a dominant account in this browser. Chrome is saying there's a dominant account. And so when you click on a link of something that somebody shared with you, it's going to try to open it in that dominant account. And if that's not the account you're trying to use it in, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Things get messed up. So I strongly encourage people to sort of see the differences, and then you can make a choice for your workflow. But it's just important to understand what's happening here, that you're doing Chrome profile, and down here you're looking at your Google accounts. And I really prefer to have them matchy so that your bookmarks are relevant, your extensions are relevant. You've got the different colors with the themes, different moods for your different online personalities.
Okay, this is great. And actually, this is the reason why I do have a lot of different tabs, windows going on at the same time, because I'll have one is logged into one thing, one is logged into another. So I do try to keep them separate. And okay, let's keep moving on. I've got a more complicated question, but I'm going to refrain from asking you about it because I don't want to go too deep into it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I've got a great one for you. Okay. So we're going to get into tabs. But what I want to point out is I really wanted to show you in the browser up here. I was going to have an example ready, but I forgot to. It might say update or finish update or Chrome update or just update, and it might be different colors. It might be red, it might be green, it might be whatever. But if you see a bubble sitting over here that says anything like update, please click on it and update your browser, because while sometimes or often it's features and new stuff we have to learn, but also new cool stuff we get to use. A lot of times it's a security update, and it is critical right now that we keep our browsers updated security-wise to stay as safe as possible. So please be on the lookout for your security. That wasn't even my tip. That was just like, I can't help but say it.
Well, that's a really good tip. And I do want to ask about talking about security. Google has Chrome plugins. You can get Chrome plugins. There's a plugin store. They call it a store. Most stuff is free. But we think like, oh, these things are vetted by Google, but they aren't. And we don't know when we download something and put it in as an extension what the heck it's doing. There's, maybe they've got a whole bunch of notes, and we just bypass that and be like, okay, so we could actually be giving them rights to spy on us or do nefarious things, right? So do you have any tips on using the Chrome store?
I do, in the sense of, I'm sure others know a little bit more how to check this, but I always check on, like, I don't know what any of these are. So I'm in the Chrome store right now that you're talking about. These are all extensions that are super powerful. I use the 1Password extension. I use Evernote. I use, there's an Adobe extension. On my business account, I have a ton of extensions, but I don't know what these are. So I might open one up. This one says meditate. Okay, I can meditate anywhere with this, and I can just add it to my Chrome. What I do though is I come over here, I look at how many users are using this. 1,000 users? No thanks. I'm not ready to take that on. If it's 4 million users and the rating is between 4 and 5 star and it's been around for a long time, I'm going to feel a little more safe using that extension. But as you mentioned, Heather, when you add an extension, it's going to often say some really scary language, like this extension will be able to view the website that you're viewing or your data or your profile information. Think about what the extension's for, because it probably needs to have access to that information in order to do what you're asking it to do. So, there's two sides of this. You don't necessarily need to panic if it's saying it'll have access to your browsing history. Well, that may be what the extension is trying to do, is help you with your browsing history, in some way. But you do need to read through these, and, something like 1,000 users, I just wouldn't install it. That's just me. So you kind of go with your comfort level. I look for how many people are using it.
Okay. And okay, that's great to know. And there is a little, like a pin, like a representation of a pin where you can turn it on and off. So I guess if you have it off, it's not doing its thing in the background, I assume.
Well, let's be real clear about the pins. So the pins are actually whether I want to see them showing here on the browser. Okay. But
that doesn't turn off the access to it.
no, so I would need to manage the extension and actually disable it. This is just whether I want to see it or not. So you can see I don't have this pin, so it's therefore not visible to me, but it's still working behind the scenes because it's turned on. I could click this to turn it off, to disable it if I wanted to, and I could even remove it if I don't want it anymore.
Okay, right? That's good to know. Okay, all right.
And by the way, if you don't have an extension, you won't see this little puzzle piece looking icon that says extension. So that's why you don't have one, is because you haven't installed one yet. So try installing one, and then you'll see this tool here.
But only ones that have lots of downloads and a good and stars. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've noticed a lot of them will look like they belong to a certain company. Like, let's just say it'll be like Zoom, and then it says something, and Zoom has nothing to do with it. And I think it may even say in small print, like, we're not, but it makes it look like it's like an official product from them. So just be aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip, Heather, because just in technology and with technology in general and security issues, this is when we have to slow down. It's really important to take a deep breath before you click on things and actually take the time, just take the few nanoseconds it's going to take to really read something before you add it, click it, go to it, whatever. Yeah, that's a great tip, is we really need to, unfortunately, people are trying to take advantage. So yeah, that's a good one. All right. Now, in terms of tabs, so I want to be sure, there's so many settings in your Chrome. Again, just like I said with Gmail, go to the 3 dots, go to settings, and read all this stuff. If you go through here and read all these settings, you will learn so much about Chrome, and not only what it can do, but what you can control. I just want to show you one super tip, okay? On startup here, on startup, we've been used to for a long time of either opening a new blank tab when we start Chrome, right? And we've been used to this, which is use specific set of pages. So like I want my Chrome to open every single morning with my email and my calendar. Every single morning you can set that so that when you open up your browser, those are the 2 tabs. But this one is a little known one, which is continue where you left off. So I love this one. I recommend trying it if you're somebody who likes to have a lot of tabs open. Who doesn't? Okay. We all have a lot of tabs open. And I want to be able to shut it down for the day, or I want to be able to do that update. So I want you to feel confident doing the update for your browser, knowing that it's going to continue where you left off. You're not going to lose all those tabs across the top. So try that. It's one of my super tips for sure.
And we are going to talk about Google Drive, right? And we have are we moving on to Drive now? Or
good. I was going to show a couple more tab things.
okay, yeah, let's see them, and then we'll get
right.
to
All right.
Domi's question.
Oh, good. Okay. I love a question from Domi. Hi, Domi. All right. Let me show you something real quick. So if I did best vegan restaurants in Oregon, okay. And now let's say I'm just doing a little research because I'm planning my next trip to Oregon, which is true. Okay, and let's say I'm holding down control, by the way, to open these in new tabs without, being disrupted here. So I'm just doing control and I open a whole bunch of tabs. Okay, I'm doing research. Now I don't need to bookmark all these things, but let's say whoa, oh, perfect example. This is playing music. I'm gonna mute that. Whoa, started blasting music on my end. You probably didn't hear it. So I've got these tabs here. I'm doing my research for vegan restaurants. I don't want to bookmark these, but I want to save them for a little bit, but they're in my way because I got to do some work, right? So I'm going to hold down this tab and I'm going to hold down shift. I'm sorry, I'm going to click this tab and I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to select this tab. Now I have selected, it's very subtle. I don't know if you can even see it over Zoom, but I've selected all these tabs. I'm going to right click on one of them and I'm going to say add tabs to group and I'm going to say new group. And I'm going to call this vegan restaurants, if I can spell restaurants, and we'll make that, I don't know, I already have a green one, so we'll make this purple. Okay, now they just rolled this out. I could just leave it like that. And then I would have, let's see, I'm going to hit return. Okay, so I've got my group here that I can click and it opens. Heather's like, whoa.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Close it, open, close it. But look, it gets even better. I can right click on this and I can say save group. Okay, and when I save this group, it's now something that I could hide. And when I do that, it falls right here. You see it? You see it on my browser here now?
Yeah,
I've got it here. And in fact, the hikes here, we'll hide this one too, so you can see. Now I can go about my day. And then let's say, oh, I'm ready to look at the vegan restaurants again. I can just click on this and they open right back up for me. Okay. I could then hide it again. I could even say, you know what? Open this in a new window because I just need it like all in a new window, super fresh. Okay, and I can hide that again, make that go away. I can close that window and they're right back sitting there. So I love this for doing like temporary research on things. You're not permanently bookmarking these things, but you're just, grouping them.
I've got a question. So once you close that main browser window, do those groups go away? Are they deleted or they remain there until you delete them?
Yeah, this remains because I saved it. That's the big difference that they just rolled out is they allowed for saving. So before you would group them and then if you close that window, the group would go away. Now I can save them and they won't go away.
And can you save the group in bookmarks? Like, could you have like subfolders in bookmarks or does that kind of?
You can bookmark, let's see.
Because I mean, I guess I already have folders within bookmarks. So I guess.
Yeah, you can have folders in your bookmarks for
yeah.
sure.
So this is just something different. And I like the color coding thing too.
Yes.
This is awesome. Okay. Because a lot of times people will be like, hey, here's this URL for this workshop I'm putting on. And I'm like, I just keep that window open because I don't want to lose the URL. Okay.
Right.
Okay. This is great.
Right.
Okay. Awesome. I love this.
Okay. I'm pulling over my different account now. So now I'm in Google Workspace for Business. I'm pulling over my Google Drive so you can see this a little differently than in my demo account because it needs to be a little more realistic to go into a couple of things. So was there a question first for Drive?
So there was one for Google Drive.
Okay.
If you use OneDrive, is there a way to smoothly integrate Google Drive? Is it a matter of file types? This is from Domi.
Okay. I'm not quite sure about integrate, but of course, as you know, OneDrive is Microsoft. Microsoft's
that's right.
equivalent to be, storing files in the cloud, and Google Drive is Google's equivalent of storing files in the cloud. Now, I will say Google Drive can certainly now open all Microsoft files. I shouldn't say all, but the main ones, Word and Excel and all of that natively. in the browser, in Google Drive. So you don't really need OneDrive anymore. Of course, if you're using OneDrive, great. There's a way. I have helped people transfer from OneDrive to Google Drive. You can also have OneDrive mounted on your computers, your desktop or whatever, and you can have Google Drive mounted on your desktop and you can move files that way, if you were making some big transition. But I don't know about some kind of integration. There may or may not be something out there.
Okay. I have another question I just remembered about Gmail while you're talking about this. Is there a way to work on your computer? Like if you don't have internet connection, can you still access Gmail with some kind of desktop plugin or something like that? Do they have anything like that?
Gmail, you're saying?
Yeah, Gmail, yeah. Like some programs you have like a thing where you can work offline. I mean, obviously you can't send mail, but you could at least be working on crafting mail.
Yeah, you'd have to, I believe, if I'm understanding, you'd have to use a client application for that.
Okay.
Now, of course, Google Drive can be used offline. Google Docs can be used offline. Sheets, slides, all of that can be used offline. But I've never really tried to set it up so I could do Gmail offline.
Okay, that's why it came to my head, because I was like, I've done stuff locally with the Google Drive stuff. Okay,
right.
And Google Drive, you don't necessarily you don't have to have a business account. Everybody has a Google Drive. It's really cool, and they have made some changes to it. But it has basically, like, if you don't have Microsoft Office, it's got a lot of the same tools. You can do presentations. You can do they call it slides? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, slides. Sheets is the Excel. No, I wouldn't say equivalent, but for
it's
most,
pretty darn close. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Plus, there's tons of plugins. Like Sheets can do almost everything Excel can do if you start adding plugins. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
But the good thing, like I said, is you can use all the Microsoft apps like that in Google Drive natively. It doesn't change them necessarily to, like, you can take Word and work on it as a Word doc in Google Drive without changing it to a Google Doc.
Oh, I know. One of the things we wanted to talk about was when you share a file with someone. So I remember, like, when I was in college and this thing called Google Drive came out, we were all able to, like, work on a project together. It was the most amazing thing. But whoever started that document owned that document, even though we had our names on it. So as a business owner, like, I had hired a VA, and even though she was working in my folder, she started the document, and then I had to go back in there and, like, remove her rights. And it was like I think I had to make a copy of it. So talk to us about, like, ownership of these documents.
Heather, this is critical. If you are running a business and you are using Google to support your business, it is critical that you understand who owns your content. And in my opinion, if you're the business owner, you should own all your data. You should own your data. You should own your assets. You should own all of your content. I don't want you to lose it. I just am working with a client right now whose entire contact list got deleted because the admin they were working with, it was in their account, they owned it, and something happened with their account. We don't know what, and the contact list disappeared. So I would love for all small business owners to, prevent that from happening. My number one suggestion, aside from just making sure you're the owner of every doc that you use, the easiest way to do this is to use shared drives. So which brings me to, I want to just give you a little explanation of the difference between a My Drive, a shared drive, and the shared with me. Okay, because it's really important to understand the difference between this. Most of the things that you find in your Google My Drive you created, you're the owner. Now, you might have created a folder and then shared that folder with other people, and other people put stuff in it. Okay, so it's not 100%. But what you're seeing in your My Drive, you own. Okay. In your shared with me, and this is very confusing to folks, but this is all stuff. I think I was going to actually, let me just go to the shared with me here for a second. So this is all stuff that was shared with me. Okay, which is why it says shared with me by someone else. And it's not sitting in my My Drive. So most of the time when people share stuff with us, we go back to our email and we search for the email to try to find the thing. that the person shared with us, because this is a hot mess. Shared with me is just a long list of everything that's ever been shared with you. Now, of course, you know, you may or may not know that you can add a shortcut. This is how they do it now. If I want this outline for today to be for sure, oops, I'm under organize here, add shortcut. If I want to add this to my drive, you know, then I can come into my drive here, and I'm going to, oh, I already did it this morning. I can see a shortcut to this item here, and you know it's a shortcut because it has that little arrow. But this does not protect you. This doesn't make sure that you own your content. So shared with me, all that stuff is owned by someone else. And by the way, you can do an advanced search, and I would recommend looking for your virtual assistants, your admin, your vendors, the people that did your social media, the people that worked on your website, you know, anybody you're collaborating with. Go into the advanced search and search for anything owned by that person. And you'll probably be surprised, like, oh, I thought I owned that. That other person owns that. If they leave, you know, they win the lottery, you know, something happens with their account, you will lose that content. Okay. So I recommend to most folks, if you can afford it, to get the next level up on Google Workspace for Business. There's the starter, and then there's the standard. If you go standard, it's roughly $12 a month, okay, per seat. You will have a shared drive here. And what's very, very different about a shared drive is anything that goes into a shared drive is owned by your business, anything at all. So if somebody, your VA, your virtual assistant, has created a document, and you say, okay, make sure you put everything in the shared drive where it goes, it'll transfer ownership from them to you, to your business, to your domain. Everything in the shared drive will always be owned by your domain, and never anybody else. And so that is my strong recommendation for business owners, is to upgrade to that business standard and get your shared drive, which is different than a folder you've shared with a lot of people. That's very, very different than a folder that you've shared with a lot of people. If they put stuff in that folder, they still own it. It will still disappear when they leave. Okay, but shared drive owned by the company. So.
And some stuff that I see in my shared with me thing dates back like so many years ago. Is there a way to just remove yourself from that? Like, I volunteered for this organization once, and now I'm still on this list. Like, it's still sitting there. Is there a way to just, how do you get rid of it? Do you delete it, or
you can, you know, you can right click on something and say remove, and you'll notice that it has the trash can, but it has the word remove, because you're not actually deleting it for the person that owns it. But I will say, Heather, you know, the shared with me causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of folks, because there's just so much and it goes on forever. But one thing I want to point out is anything in the shared with me is not taking up space in your drive, because it's owned by someone else and it's taking up space in their drive. So in some ways, I wouldn't necessarily, you know, recommend spending a bunch of time cleaning up shared with me. You can't organize it. All you can do is remove stuff. Maybe if there's something in there you don't want to look at or see anymore. But otherwise, it may not be the best uses of your time, because it's really just sitting there. All this stuff is still, you know, yeah.
So it doesn't count against my
no, not at all.
amount. Okay, no. Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We went over the ownership thing and the share with me in the inbox. Oh, so just one tiny thing. This showed up recently. This home. You know, and it's different in a free account versus Google Workspace paid. But this home space is the default now when you come to Drive. And I notice it's causing a lot of confusion, because this is like random, you know, and it says right here, reason suggested. So what this is trying to do is, Google knows that people end up with a hot mess in their Google Drive. Google knows we're not all the best organizers of our content. So it's trying to roll out tools to help us find what we need to get our business done. And this is what they're trying to do. So they now have this home here, which is saying, hey, you know, we think you might want this because, you know, I shared it with myself at 7 a.m. That's a pretty good reason. Or I opened this at 7 a.m. or I uploaded this, you know, yesterday. So it's telling me why. It's telling me the owner, and it's telling me the location. But it's causing confusion because it doesn't look like what we're used to seeing when we come to Drive. If you don't like it, which honestly I don't, because I don't rely on Google to decide, like I'm organized enough in my business account to know what's what. You do have the option to change your home back to My Drive. And you can always change it back to home if you want to try, but you could change to My Drive. And now when I open My Drive, it'll open to My Drive and I can click over to home if I want. This is a great way to see, like I was just working on something yesterday that Heather sent me and I cannot remember the name of it. Like, what was it? You know, I might see it here, right? I could do a quick search by just a certain type, a certain person, you know, when it was modified. So they're trying to make this a little bit easier. I just wanted to throw out that you can change it and sort of what it means. All right.
And what does the spam thing mean on the side there? Because that seems odd. Do people get spammed in their Google Drive? That's weird.
You know what? A great question, Heather. It's been on my to research list because I so far in none of my accounts, nothing has shown up here. So I actually don't know exactly what it's doing and how it works.
Yeah, it seems strange.
Yeah.
And Google changed some things. So there was like it was like Google board or something. It was like a Jamboard or something like, yeah. So they got rid of that. Do they have anything where it's an interactive thing where people can join in together? Did they substitute it with anything, or
you know, I would say the main thing is if you go to docs.google.com, or of course, you know, you can always just go over to your app switcher and scroll until you find Docs here. There's a way, or actually you could just be in your new and go to Docs. You've probably noticed there's, let's see, I'm totally forgetting what it's called. But it's wider and Pageless right here.
Oh,
Go Pageless.
Oh.
Yeah, and so let's see. Let's read the directions. These pop-ups are so good. They give you a little tour and this is how you learn stuff. Change this anytime by selecting page setup from the file menu. Okay, because I forgot. So we're going to go page, we're going to go file, page setup. Where is it? Page setup. And we'll do pageless. Okay.
Okay. So it's like a board. Okay.
Yeah, this is like a board. So that's what I'm guessing is the closest thing that they've rolled out.
And I think also you could probably use the Google Slides as well, because then you can kind of drop things on the slide and keep it organized that way. Okay, right. Well, very cool. All right, well, we have gone a full hour because we made up our time for the snafu of technology. But hey, we got to try this stuff out, and I'm happy that I was able to do it with Bobby Deetz, who is the technology guru, and but we'll have to find someone out there that is a YouTuber that knows all about this stuff, Zoom and YouTube. And you know, it's crazy, we have like all these different applications that are supposed to speak to each other, and I have this other online tool that's supposed to like help you go live, and I could not get it to work with Zoom, and then all I was like hearing myself twice, and it was just terrible. So we just with all the things, we got to figure this stuff out. So that's why we need someone like you, Bobby, to help us navigate all the changes and things that are happening. And it's really important for business owners because we can waste a lot of time trying to find like, where is that thing? Where did I put it? And so your Messy Mac makeover is a godsend for a lot of people who have all of the documents on their desktop, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
So are you doing another one of those workshops anytime soon, like a free one or a paid one coming up?
Yeah, Messy Mac Makeover is coming in October, so you've got a little time to plan for that. And I believe we're having the Gmail All-Stars in July. I co-teach a bunch of those with Julia Williamson, who has, as you know, is a digital declutterer and writer and author and all these things. And so we co-teach that because I tend to be a digital hoarder, but I'm really organized. She tends to be a minimalist and likes to get rid of stuff. So we're a good combo to teach the Messy Mac Makeover class.
Wow. Okay. And one last question about Google Drive. So, you know, I'm an accountant, so I have to keep all my data, you know, very secure. I've got a secure portal that I use. I upload things, but I know a lot of my clients will be like, oh, here's a link to my stuff in Google. And I don't think that that's a safe place to be storing documents with your social security number, because I know when I was in college, somebody broke into my Google account and they hacked into it and stuff. So
Right.
what are your feelings about Google Drive, using it as a storing spot for documents that might have key pieces
Sensitive
of information? Sensitive.
information.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so I think there's degrees with security all the time. I definitely would never ever do that in a personal free Google account for sure. A business account is going to have better security. A paid account, a shared drive would be the place I might put something like that. But ideally, you're not putting social security numbers in the cloud unless you have a portal like you're talking about, Heather. And certainly never ever email stuff like that. Don't email your passwords or text them or anything like that. But I mean, and I know we didn't get into passwords, but really the browsers can be hacked, and browsers are being hacked. It's not an ideal place to put your passwords or really any sensitive information like that. I would put something like that if I had to share it with someone and they didn't have a portal. I'd put it in my password manager, my third-party password manager, and then I would share that item with that person. That's just off the top of my head. But
yeah. I think, Bobby, well, we're going to have you back for more topics, but I think security is going to be one of the key ones, because I know like people will have Facebook, they'll have like apps attached to Facebook, and Facebook gets hacked. And then we have, Google, and I use LastPass. I think you use some other tool for your passwords, but it's so important. And this particular year, I was inundated with phishing, spammy things around tax season. They really go after people like me who have the keys to a lot of information, and it's super scary. And I was like sending stuff to the IRS, like I mean, I was getting inundated like 50 emails a day. Luckily, wow. Google is able to like sift through them and be like, this looks non-legit, and like send me warning. So yeah. So awesome. Any last words before we say goodbye?
All right. Well, I just thank you so much, Heather, for this opportunity. You know that these topics are so fun to me, and I really appreciate everyone that joined live. Absolutely. digitaldeetz.com if you want to check out my website, and I'd love to come back anytime.
Awesome. And the Savvy Frugal Vegan, it's a new venture for me, and we're going to be having another live coming up. It is called It's a Plant-Based Party, where we're going to be sharing recipes, cookbooks. I think I'm going to do like a battle of air fryer versus Instant Pot, and maybe some other types of tools in the kitchen. But it will be a group of people on screen at the same time talking about these things. So if this is something that might interest you, please let me know. You can find me on Instagram at Savvy Frugal Vegan. And Bobby, where can people find you?
Digitaldeetz.com.
All right, digitaldeetz.com. All right. And once we get this up and running, we'll have some links in the show notes as well. So do you have any kind of downloads that people can get that might help them with some of this stuff?
I am working on some freebie downloads right now.
Ooh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, coming soon.
Coming soon. Okay, so keep a lookout on the show notes, and we'll have links to that. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And thank you for putting up with the snafus of technology. I so appreciate that.